good, better, and best water filtration. A good water filter will be a filter that contains carbon inside of it, an active form of carbon. This form of water filtration can get rid of chlorine and chloramine. These are two chemicals that we definitely want to remove out of our water. Catalytic carbon or activated carbon can also remove other VOCs and things that make the water taste kind of funky, so odors and whatnot. If you want better water filtration, look for like a gravity-fed system where you pour water into that not only has activated carbon inside of it, but also other medium, like maybe a ceramic filter or zeolite or some type of other filtration media inside of it that will help get out more of the heavy metals, more of the VOCs, definitely the chlorine, the chloramine, maybe have some iron buildup, and maybe just like weird particles like dust particles or just grout particles or just like foreign particles. If you want the best water filtration, then you're going to want to look at two different types of systems. A reverse osmosis system that has a DI filter on the end of it, or a distillation system that after it gets distilled runs through another carbon filtration. And the key to understand with this is that these types of water filters or water filter systems, even though they cost more, you can filter your water at home and you can pull up to 99.9% of the contaminants out of your water, specifically with a distillation system. Now that you have the best water filtration idea in your mind, now is to think, what do I do next? Do I drink this water after I filter it? And I would suggest that you do not, that you look at adding minerals back to this water. And when you add minerals back to this water, you now have water that is in a more natural state than it would be before you filtered it. The caveat is we have to filter our tap liquid because, again, I don't even consider that stuff water. When we look at contaminants that are in our tap liquid, we are definitely surprised and overwhelmed with the amount of toxicity that can be inside our water. So by filtering it out with a reverse osmosis or distillation system, we're able to pull that contaminants out. However, that water is now empty. Some would say that water is now dead. And then that's the caveat here. We want to start with dead water or empty water. I don't really like the word dead, but I'm going to tell you why here in a second. So the reason why I call it dead water is because we found out from Dr. Emoto's work that water holds memory. And what that means, and the fact that we are 78% water, the Earth's 78% water, but what this all means is that we have the ability to imbibe. So what this means is that we can use technology and knowledge to inform water with a new memory. So by adding proper minerals to our water, and this could be something like a very high-end sea salt that you add to your water, or a mineral supplement that obviously both of these have been tested for heavy metals, and it's something that you feel comfortable with, but by adding minerals back to our water that's been dead or empty is a phenomenal strategy to really create hydration. So we have to understand water is very powerful. It's one of the most powerful substances known to man. And we want to really get our mind wrapped around what we need to do to consume the best water ever. So step one is filter that water. And I just gave you the good, better, and best ways to do that. But step two would be to add minerals back to that water. And step three, if you want to take it even farther, would be to actually spin the water after you filtered it and added the minerals to it. When you spin water, water wants to move in a vortex motion. So when you spin water with minerals in it, you help create a crystal grid or matrix in the water that holds the minerals, and that in itself creates better hydration. They've shown that water that has been spun after it's been filtered and minerals been added to it is known as wetter water. What does that mean? Well, basically it just means that it's gonna hydrate you better. It also tastes better. And you can take it even a step further after you spin the water, and there's tons of different devices out there. Let me pop up a few here. Boom, 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 boom. There's wands, guys. There's devices that spin it. But this last step is storing the water. Because what are you gonna do after you've done all this work? Are you gonna store it in what? This last step is you store it in a ceramic vessel, or a vessel that's shaped like an egg. And this is the exact shape that we see a fetus growing in. It's in this like oval embryonic fluid, right? And this oval shape helps all that fluid keep moving in motion. So my point here is that an oval shaped water vessel helps keep water moving and keeping it from being stagnant. The last thing we want is water to be completely still. We want to have water that's moving. When we look in nature, this is exactly how water moves. And in a perfect world, what would we do, guys? We would go to a spring and we'd get water. But where does that spring actually exist? It doesn't exist at the bottom of the mountain or the hill. It exists at the top of the mountain or the hill. Why is that? Well, that's because water is supposedly vortexing up, and hydrogen and all these other elements and things we don't really fully understand yet are happening to move that water up and then send it out the top and down. So naturally we would collect that water from at the top of the hill. However, due to pollution in our environment, even groundwater has been polluted. So basically what we want to do is we want to mimic nature as best that we can. Now, you're not always going to be able to get water in its most pristine state, but if you educate yourself on water and you learn the best filtration that you can get, you learn how to add minerals back to that water so it's wetter, and then spin that water so that you can embody memory inside of it, which brings me to another point. When we talk about memory in water, this happens through a vortex effect, but also with our minds, right? Our ability to be able to encode frequencies or messages inside water has been proven. This is a scientific fact. This isn't pseudoic science. Water holds memory, and we can embody that memory inside water. We can even write words on the outside of a water vessel. We can even use things like crystals inside water. We can use things like magnets inside water, and all these things will help create a new memory inside the water, taking it from dead water to living water. So I use the quotations because the water isn't technically dead. It's just been stripped of all its memory. So we're wanting to embody memory and energetics back into that water. And there's a few ways that we can do that. The main backbone to that technology is vortexing and spinning. The second part of that is either using our intention or actually writing words on the water. Another thing that we can do is actually can put water out in the sun, and the sun will actually charge the water. It'll help increase the magnetism of the water. So all these things are very interesting, and you don't necessarily need to do one over the other. At the end of the day, we need to understand that we really need to focus on making sure the water we consume is the cleanest, purest, most energetic, hydrating form of water that we can actually consume. Now, I know some of these steps might seem like a lot of work, and I'm not saying that everyone needs to do this. I just want to show you what I've discovered after 15 years of researching water. And yes, I do some of those steps, and I mainly do most of them, but not all of the time. And I've noticed huge shifts in my health and well-being. I've seen and heard of huge shifts from people that I've helped over the years. But the main thing that we have to understand is we have to filter our water. And I would not look at an active carbon filter as enough. I wouldn't look at one of these gravity-fed Berkeley systems as enough. I would definitely look at a reverse osmosis system or a distillation system to get your water filtered. But again, I would not stop there. But that, my friends, is the number one thing that there's no compromise in my book. We have to at least get the water stripped and purified down to as empty as humanly possible. We have to get as much stuff out of that initial tap liquid or tap water, if you will, out. And then we have to look at adding minerals in, and then energetics, spinning it, and then storing it. Once we do this, we have basically mimicked what nature has given us as an example for the most pristine, ideal source of water for our lives. My name is Charles Barber. If you guys have any questions or comments about this, please put them below. I would love to be able to shoot more videos that intrigue you guys or that, propose questions in your mind's eye that maybe I can help address. I spent 15 years in a wellness center working one-on-one with people, and my advice is sending it out to the world instead of sitting in front of one person one-on-one day in and day out and not getting that information spread out. Anyways, at the end of the day, if you could take the time to like this post, because every time you like this, the algorithm sends it out to like more people. If you comment, it sends it out to more people. If you share it, it sends it out to even more people. So if you could help a guy out and either like, comment, or share this, if you found it valuable for you. If you didn't find it valuable for you, who gives a crap? Like, don't worry about it. Don't care about me. Like, go on, do your thing. No big deal. I don't feel any type of way about it. But if you did find some value in this video, please share it to someone you know and you love, you think might benefit from it. And let's get our water purified.